Ready?
Yeah.
So I'm not clear on what this camera is going to be used for. Am I doing the intro there?
Yeah, I was
Because
looking
then none
to
of
that
these
camera.
cameras.
I was looking to that camera more than anything.
Yeah, but then none of these cameras have you at camera.
A few of them did. I went to a few of them.
Because I really don't want this camera used that much.
It's just in case.
Yeah, it's just a cut shot.
Okay.
I would think if you're talking, I'm at this camera.
The horizontal one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would think.
Yeah.
Or it's filming us like talking to each other.
For the most part, we should be talking to each other.
Yeah.
Maybe just the intro.
I'm lost.
Maybe
But
we use
how
it just for the
are
intro.
they using that? I guess for the YouTube video, it'd be there.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, Oakmont shirt. Where'd you get that?
Bought it
When?
online. I did a little shopping.
I like it.
All right, everybody, welcome to Talking Shit with the Cincadas. We are here, and in today's episode, we are going to dive right into the topic, which is why is your photography business failing? And of course, I'm here with my beautiful wife, the second half of the Cincadas, Alyssa. So, you want to get started?
Yeah. I mean, this is a heavy topic, I think. I think there are a lot of different reasons why your photography business is failing.
Agreed. But there's some major ones.
Yeah, I want to save.
You don't want to talk about my attire, my choice of attire?
I mean, I feel like I went a little too heavy on the outfits, and
No,
you're like,
you're
okay,
perfect.
but you're like, I'm just going to be in a hoodie. I'm a hoodie podcaster. I would.
No,
be
I'm not
so
a hoodie podcaster.
but I want to do that.
I'm committed to golf.
Oh,
Because when I go to client shoots,
he's sporty Sal.
Yeah, I'm sporty Sal. For
Okay.
this. Yeah, for podcasting.
I'm gonna be in a hoodie next
Yeah.
one.
No, you can't.
Why?
You're the pretty one.
I want a hoodie now.
I'm not the pretty one.
It's very cold in here, by the way.
Yeah.
Hoodie would be great.
That's why I have to have a hoodie on.
Anyway,
Yeah. What are your thoughts? Why are photographers' businesses failing? By the way, preface that with we have been here for 18 years. We have dealt with the .com crisis. No, we have not dealt with that. We have dealt with the housing boom.
I mean, you're old, so you've definitely
bust
dealt with
in 2000. Yes, I am
.com
old.
crisis.
Anyway, we have dealt with many economical
Y2K?
issues. No, that was before the business started. So, but I was alive for Y2K. I don't
So
know
was
if
I.
you're
I was
mocking
alive.
me. Yeah, you were like probably 4.
No, I was in grade school.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I was in corporate.
Yeah.
Solving Y2K problems. Anyway, so our business has survived through the housing crisis, through COVID, through inflation, et cetera, right? So I think
Actually thrived.
yes,
Honestly.
survived and thrived in that. And I think so it's important. I think we have some credibility to lend to this conversation. So with all that being said, right, because now, there's just turmoil in the world. Seems like ever
Every
since
day.
COVID, it's just nonstop. But business still goes on. Successful businesses find a way to succeed. So
real quick to that point.
all that preface.
Yeah, you said every day it feels like it's nonstop, just piling it on, all the crazy stuff happening in the world. I always wonder, like, is it really, has it always been this way and we just didn't have access to so much information so quickly like we do on social media? Has the world always been this chaotic with wars and tariffs? And
Yeah, I mean, you can go back to you can go to the 60s. You had civil rights movement. You had, with the Bay of Pigs, and you had the, Cuban Missile Crisis. You had in the 70s, you had problems with Iran. I mean, you can go all through it. You had the Vietnam War.
But if we're also stressed out from this constant just bombardment of bad news all day, every day.
But that's the difference. Today, information is available 24
Yes.
hours a day. And not only is it available 24 hours a day, it is being fed to you by people who don't know shit about shit.
No, and we'll have a whole topic
Yes,
on
we're going to talk
photographers
about
and
politics in business. But
I think if all this information is stressing us all out, why don't we just get rid of social media?
yeah, well,
That would be the best world possible. Okay.
I agree with you.
So why are
But then nobody would
photographers-
watch the show because that's where it's going to be on. So then it'd be over.
True.
Yeah. See, it's good and bad.
Yeah.
Here you are.
Maybe no one will watch it. Okay, so why are photographers' businesses failing? I would say one of the biggest mistakes I see photographers making, because you do so much coaching, is you've got all these people who come in and they are taking this little piece from this mentor of theirs, this little piece from this online workshop they went to, this piece from a YouTube video they watched. And the next thing you know, their business model is built around 7 or 8 different photographers' models. And what makes one photographer successful is the fact that they have a solid single business model, practice, however you want to call that, and they follow that specifically. They're not mixing in other things that may contradict what another one's saying. So I think a lot of photographers are contradicting themselves in their own business.
Right.
It's confusing for them to put it together, so it's sure as shit confusing for the client they're trying to sell it to.
Right, because they may be listening, I think this is what you're saying, they may be listening to one educator or business coach who's telling them, you know,
put your pricing online.
Put your pricing online, but then they're trying to be a luxury brand,
right.
and those two things are in contradiction of one
exactly.
another, right? Yeah, I think you're right there. But, you know, when I think to myself, why are photography businesses failing? And I just sum it up to at a 50,000 foot level without getting granular on all the other things they're doing. It's just, you're fucking lazy. Do the fucking work. Like, I find that photographers in general, maybe that's too broad a brushstroke. A lot of business owners do not want to do the fucking work that's required.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is they think they're working, right? But they're not, because, well, you know, my kids had a Little League game. Well, I got busy at work. Well, we had a vacation. Well, I was just tired. Hey, man, there's someone out there that's hungrier than you are, willing to make more sacrifices than you are, and they are going to eat your fucking lunch. And if you're not willing to do the work that needs to be done, you're not going to be successful. You can make excuses for the next 6 months, and in 6 months, that's all you're going to have is a pile of excuses. Or every day you can wake up and be committed and do the fucking work that needs to be done to be successful. That doesn't mean you will be successful, but you're going to be 6 months further along. And I think that's where a lot of creatives get lost. I find a lot of creatives to be filled with fucking excuses and just fucking lazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And that goes back to the social media. And I think a lot of people waste so much of their day doom scrolling.
Oh.
And it's like, it's such a mind suck. And I got off Instagram for a few months, and I was just telling you this the other day. I feel happier when I'm not on it, because there's nothing good that comes out of it. I'm good about like making sure that I'm watching dog video. The videos I watch on Instagram are like dogs and horses, and then I get random stuff thrown in there.
Right.
But I mean, you start your day off great. You're going through your to-do list, and then you're like, oh, I'm just going to open up my phone real quick. I just need a break. 3 hours later,
right? It's crazy.
What happens? Like, where does time go?
It's a drug.
Yeah, but also I think, I mean, I'm one. I can say this because I am this. I think most people are inherently lazy. Yeah. That is my default. If I didn't have you in my life, I would be lazy. You hold me accountable every single day, and you've trained me to a point where I hold myself accountable now.
Yeah.
Because,
I think these are good habits.
Yeah, they're great habits. And there's something for me, as I get older, there's something so much more fulfilling every day about waking up early, getting my stuff done earlier.
There's nothing better.
And then having the rest of my day. Like we used to work until midnight at the earliest. Like a nice early day home was midnight. We were pulling all-nighters multiple times during the week. Then we would roll out of bed at 8 o'clock, 8:30, just to get to the office by 9. So you're scrambling all day, and it just creates so much panic inside of you, and you don't need that. You can control that.
I always felt like when I wake up late, I'm behind the 8 ball.
Oh my gosh, even when we wake up at 7 o'clock, I'm like, I lost the whole day.
No, now we're up at 5:36. You get your coffee, whatever you got to do to get, wake up and get going. And then, we're ahead of our team. So we've got a few hours before they get online. Yep. We're doing work, we're checking email, and then I can actually focus on the day ahead. But again, we're all busy. We all have photo shoots, right? That's what makes the money. But the photo shoot's the fun part. Of being an entrepreneur or being a photography entrepreneur.
Right.
Photo shoot's the fun part. I love doing that stuff.
After the shoot admin
That's like
stuff.
5% of my life is the photo shoot. The other 95% is strategy, marketing, returning phone calls, answering emails, prepping for photo shoots. There's all this other work that goes into it Sure, I wish we could just wake up, it's 1:00 and go on a photo shoot and the rest is done. But that's just not how it works, right? You got to place customer orders for products they're ordering, on and on and on, right? And so I'm going to circle back to that because I think it's very easy for people to look at other successful people, take photographers out of it, to look at other successful people. And I find it goes one of two ways. When there's somebody out there who's more successful than you, you either hate that person or you aspire to be that person, right? And, I don't even know if it's 50-50. It might be 80-20. Like 80% of the people might throw shade at that person. Oh, well, that's because, right? There's always that's just because, Well, no, they probably did the work you weren't willing to do. And then the other, 20%, whatever the numbers might be, they see that person as aspirational, and I want to get where that person is going to be. I think that's a healthier mindset. When I was a kid growing up, we grew up electricity being turned off in the house because we couldn't pay our electric bill. Grew up in New York City, and it was just a different way of growing up. But I always looked at, my mother did a really good job she worked on Wall Street, and she exposed me to people who were successful. And I never threw shade at those people, never had animosity towards those people. I always looked at them and in my head I'm like, what do I got to do to get there?
We're a country of opportunity.
Right.
I don't know why people, and that is so normal today, is to hate the person who is more successful than you.
Right.
Instead of just putting in the work. It would be so much easier for you and so much more rewarding for you to just do the work, feel that reward at the end of the hard work when you do succeed, because it's not that hard to succeed.
No, there's so much opportunity out there.
So much, especially in the photography world.
Yeah, it's true. All right, so let's talk about pricing. What are your thoughts on, as we talk about success or failure, what are your thoughts on how photographers use pricing and how that impacts them, how that hurts them?
I think most photographers have no idea how to price. I think there's so many different messages going around in the photo world that they don't know what works. And so it's like on January of 2025, I'm going to raise my prices because Bob online said to raise your prices.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go from base price $2,000 for a wedding. Now I start at $6,000.
Yeah,
but nothing changes inside of it.
Well, yes, but I do have a different take because I don't think that's the norm. I think the norm is the reverse. Business slows, they start cutting their prices. It's very rare that business slows and people are raising their prices.
I'm not tying it to a lack of business and raising their. I think people are just doing.
Well, the title of the
things.
episode is "Why Your Photography Business Is Failing."
No, and I'm saying because they don't know what to do, so they take this one piece of information that Bob online said to raise your prices, so they do it, but they don't change what's in their package to meet that level.
Very true. If you're going to raise your prices to generate more revenue and income, there has to be an associated value added to that. You can't just charge $10,000 or $5,000.
My point is people are lost when it comes to pricing, whether that's raising their prices, whether that's having like a 4-page folio of price lists when people come in to see their pictures, and then it's a Denny's menu and they don't even know what to look at.
My take on it is photographers, when it comes to pricing, they are, first of all, most photographers are not their own customers at a high-end level.
That is the number one thing we will ask people when they come in for consulting. Would you spend your prices to have your family photos done, your beauty portraits?
Would you spend your money on your pricing? Yeah, almost everybody says no, right? So what that ends up doing is that creates a little bit of imposter syndrome, which then leads them when things get slow or nobody's booking them or one client comes in and pushes back on higher pricing. They're like, I gotta lower my prices, right? And they go into this like panic mode and they just keep lowering their prices. But what they don't realize in lowering your prices is that perception is reality. If my prices are low, I must be cheap and I must not be good. Because if you're good, you're not charging less. Nobody does that, right? No luxury car company. Rolex doesn't charge less for a watch,
right?
But Swatch Watch probably does. I don't even know if that's a thing.
I don't know. It was a long time ago. I haven't heard that in so long.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
You're really showing your age on this episode.
I am. I can't help it. So Rolex is not going to lower their price. They're going to charge a higher price, but they're going to offer a better product and they're going to offer a better experience. Why? Because they have the money to do it. It's very difficult to lower your price, but then offer a good experience.
Right.
So you start attracting the wrong clients, and it's a death spiral for your business. There is no creative I have seen, individual creative, that has lowered their price and become successful. Because as photographers, we're solopreneurs, right? Usually, most photographers are not running a, photography like camp where they've got 20 photographers working for them and they're just like shoveling them out there, right? So it's not volume.
Right.
It's mostly one-on-one. Maybe it's not full luxury, but it is, for the most part, I would say more than 80% of photographers are trying to offer a boutique experience, right? How can you do that if you're lowering your prices?
You can't.
Yeah.
Nope. And then you've got the contradiction of pricing where you've got photographers online that are running like book this mini session for $200 and help me save my studio. But then it's like,
hold on. You're saying that shit is fucking hilarious. I'm going to change directions on you, right? Like nothing waves the white flag like you as a business owner going online to social media with either a GoFundMe or any kind of like raising money. Like, why don't you just go out there and tell people you fucking suck, your business model sucks, and you don't know what you're doing. But please hire me, even though I don't know what I'm doing.
Hire me on this cheap rate because I can't pay my bills this month.
Yeah. Can you imagine like a local electrician in your area being like, hey guys, like business is tough. My cat needs its shots. Can we run, I'm doing install 2 outlets, get 1 free. What? Like who? I wouldn't put that fucking guy in my house. I'd be like, that guy's not coming anywhere near my house. He must not know what he's doing. He's going to burn my house down. So I don't get why. I'm sure it's not just photographers, but that's who we're talking about. But I've seen this firsthand where they go out there, they put their shit online, and they're signaling to their customers they're not good, they're not successful. Right. So why would I hire you? It's a death spiral.
It is. But then on the flip of it, photographers don't separate their business from their personal page. So they're putting designer purchases online alongside this I can't pay my rent GoFundMe. It's like
mind-boggling.
Do you understand what you're telling everybody who follows your page?
Yeah. It's a living, breathing contradiction.
Yes.
Yeah.
And nothing makes your head explode more than a living, breathing contradiction.
Yeah, I can't take it, man. Like, it's just like, I may not always agree with somebody does or what they say, but like, for fuck's sake, be consistent.
Yes.
In what you're doing. I have more respect for you.
Be consistent with your stupid ideas,
Yes. If you're stupid, be fully committed to being stupid, right? Just full force. I'm leaning into this.
Oh, gosh.
What about, when it comes to websites? What are your thoughts there?
You know what? I was actually going to make a post about this in the Disruptor Facebook group today.
Okay.
Because.
Do tell.
So I was doing some online shopping this morning.
Oh my God. Okay. What if I told you?
Yeah. You see the hand with it too?
Yeah, you got into it. You're such an influencer.
I know. I'm going to influence you to go to Zara's website. Have you ever looked at Zara's website?
No.
Promise you haven't. If you have, you know what I'm talking about. I love their clothes. Yeah. I love it so much. But I refuse to buy from their website because it is so awful. So I will buy Zara clothes from a consignment website before I will buy direct from their website. I'll go into the store before I buy from their website because you can't. I can't even explain it. Yeah. Just go to Zara's website. No shade. I love Zara. Again, love them. But that site, whoever did that, needs to be fired. Yeah, it's awful. The user experience. And sorry, I'm going to keep going.
Let's circle back with your Zara tirade and relate it to photographer websites.
So
what's your point?
I'm going to relate it back.
Because your
website's
PTSD.
Everything. I am.
You're worked
and I'm
up.
also worked up. Here's another perfect case in point. I always mess that up. It's not point in case, right?
Not
it's
a point in case. Okay. It is a case in point.
So we are down here in Florida. And when I came down here, I didn't have a hairstylist. And so I was looking for a hairstylist. And what do? You go to Google, hairstylist Florida. Yeah. Okay.
And Zara came up.
No, it's Zara.
We're done. Zara. We're done with Zara.
No.
Okay.
I was looking for a hairstylist from Google. The first thing you're looking at is your website. That is your first impression, I would say, before Instagram.
Yeah.
So I found my current hairstylist because their website was spot on.
Really?
And it was a great experience. And I filled out this little questionnaire about my hair type. And then they
What's an
matched me.
experience? Define an experience when it comes to a website.
Visually pleasing.
Yeah.
It's easy. Like it's Mac versus PC. That's how I always make it in simple terms of my opinion on a user experience.
Yeah.
Is it visually, like does your copy, do your colors, does the layout drive you through the page seamlessly, or do you get stuck in certain places? Does your copy not make sense? Is the formatting off?
Right.
I think your website as a photographer is how you sell it, and that's your first impression.
Yeah, I think websites are more and more important. It seemed like for a little bit of time, photographers were like almost getting away from websites and thinking their Facebook page was going to replace their website, which was pure insanity. I remember that.
Wild.
I was like,
we don't even use our Facebook page anymore.
Yeah, because I mean, Facebook can just make a decision that they're going to shadow ban you or shut down your website or shut down your page, which we've coached multiple photographers who've had their ad account shut down or their pages hacked and they can't get access to it. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
Like you need to own your website.
Yep.
You know, specifically when it comes to websites, I think what you're saying, ease of use is obviously so important. And making sure that the site is giving you the information you want.
But not too many words.
Right, but you need words, right, for search engine optimization.
Yeah.
But it can't just be like, I went to ChatGPT, copy pasted.
Don't get me started on chat. I am like, you think I went on a rant about Zara?
Here we go.
Oh, ChatGPT.
Lady, give us a hot
cannot
take.
take it. If I see emojis in the little checklist and like, here's what to do, and it's like checklist and
the green checks. You know that
Come
came
on,
from
just
ChatGPT.
all you have to do is use ChatGPT to your benefit and take what it writes for you and then put it in your own words. That's all you have to do.
This goes back to what I was saying. Photographers are just fucking lazy.
It's crazy to me.
Do the work that needs to be done to be successful. It's the difference between checking something that's done, just saying it's done so it's done, versus doing it right.
Yeah.
Like just do it right.
Right. And sorry, ChatGPT, if a sentence starts off, it's like the trigger of what if I told you. For ChatGPT, it's embark on this journey.
Oh, yeah. The embark.
Immediately.
Where'd that fucking word come from?
I don't know, but it's always a journey.
It's always a journey. All right. So websites, I think, just to put a cap on it, I think photographers need to step away, either have somebody they trust do a site assessment or review it and give them honest feedback. You see a lot of things from the images they choose to websites that are just not properly optimized.
Yes.
They're not loading quickly. They're not mobile friendly. A host of things. I find that photographers think they can do everything, which is mind boggling to me that they think they can do everything. And maybe they technically can, but should you? I feel like that's always a question of like, does this make sense? I should just outsource this and have an expert do it versus thinking I can do it all by myself.
Yeah.
It rarely works out for best of breed.
I have a question for you on websites.
Yeah.
When it comes to, when you go, let's say you were looking for a photographer for something, would you go to their website and look for an About Me page? Do you care about the photographer? And if yes, I know your feelings on About Me pages. You should talk about that. But what would a good About Me page be?
I think the first thing I would look at, which I think almost every one of our customers would look at, is the body of work. That's what's going to draw them in. I either like your work or I don't. So I think as a client, a bride, a senior mom is going through a decision process, might be a referral, might be a Facebook ad they saw, they might have Googled you, any of those ways. But regardless, they get to your page. Now I'm on your page. I either like your work or I don't, right? So boom, I like your work. Now I'm going to go further. I'm going to go to your About Me.
You want to see what they look like? I do.
You do?
I totally do.
Interesting.
Yep. If I like someone's work, I immediately want to see what they look like.
I don't give a shit what they look like.
I totally do.
Why do you care?
I don't know. Like, are we going to vibe? I don't know. Are you my type of person?
Yeah.
I totally like. So if I'll look at a few pictures and I'm like, oh, that's a good style. What do they look like?
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
What? I feel like I'm missing something now.
No.
Should I care? Why do I care?
I don't know.
Interesting.
It's like a relatability thing.
I guess.
If I were hiring somebody, I want to know that like I'm going to click with them. Yeah. And I can usually tell by the way they look in their profile picture.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying. But at the same time, I really don't care. Like I think about the decisions I make. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words, honestly. Yeah, because I might go to the About Us page, and I think from my perspective, the About Us page has a higher chance of hurting me hiring you than it does helping me hire you.
Because nobody knows how to. That's why I was asking you, what would a good About Me page look like?
A good About Me page is just give me a little information about yourself, who you are, what you do. And if now more and more, and we don't have this yet, and I want this for us, is a behind the scenes video of what it's like working for you, with you. So if you're a boudoir photographer, show me what it's like on a shoot. Show me a little bit of your personality. Senior, same thing, right? We post that stuff on social media more as like stories, and they disappear. I'd really like to see us produce an actual, commercial, but that's neither here nor there. I think if I go to an About Us page, it can only turn me off to that person.
So would you rather see somebody's accolades, like list of awards or accomplishments versus like I like coffee cold?
Yes. Okay. I definitely, you're picking at a scab here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been going on a lot of rants. I need you to go on a rant to match my energy.
You're just trying to set me up. If I go to your webpage and it's like, my name's Susie, I have 3 dogs, one's name's Bella, and blah, 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 and I like long walks on a bike, shut the fuck up. I don't care. I don't care. You happy? You triggered me. I just don't care. Right? That is not going to make me hire you. It's not, to me, it's not going to make you more relatable because, oh my God, we're looking at these 5 photographers, but she has a poodle just like us.
We have poodles.
And we have poodles. No one fucking cares, man. So I just find that stuff that became, I think, popular, in the 2000 teens.
With the click market, all the moms who came online.
Yeah,
it was really heavy then. Because girls girls are girly girls and they like to relate to each other.
But is that going to make you hire somebody?
No, not me. But I think a lot.
Well, you're the one who said, I got to make sure we're going to vibe. So how's you going to make sure you're going to vibe if Susie has 3 poodles?
I'm saying not on the words used because anybody can lie on an About Me page.
Yeah.
I can look at somebody's picture and know.
Yeah. You're just looking at their picture and we're going to vibe.
Yeah. What's your style like?
I like her top.
Yes.
I saw that when I was at Zara.
Yes.
All right, we got to move on. Oh, my goodness. All right, what about, I think, when it comes to why photographers are, why their businesses are failing, I find a complete lack of marketing. And that drives me fucking bonkers.
You're saying photographers just don't market or don't know how to?
Both, right? They either don't do it because they don't know how to, or they just don't do it because they don't believe in it. I'll watch photographers, and I keep using this word photographers, but it's really business owners. I'll watch business owners go out, buy a $3,000 fucking lens, buy a $6,000 camera body. 6 months later, do the same thing. They're tens of thousands of dollars into this, and they won't spend $1,000 on marketing, right? I'll talk to them about Facebook ads.
Absolutely not.
Well, how much should I spend a day?
I can't afford that.
Yeah, I can't afford it. I'm like $20 a day. Well, I can't. Was it $5 a day? $5 a day. You spend more than that at fucking Starbucks, right? So you're willing to buy all this shit, your toys, but you're not willing to invest in the business side of your photography. And that to me makes no sense. Most people don't know this. Small Business Association has stats for this. The average business spends 7 to 10%, not photographers. The average business, small business, spends 7 to 10% of income, revenue, not profit, revenue on marketing activities.
Is that what they do or what they should?
No, that's what they do.
What should it be?
No, that's a good number.
Okay, that is good. Okay. That seemed low to me.
No, well, if you're a $100,000 business a year, if you want to make $100,000 a year, you should spend roughly $7,000 to $10,000 on marketing.
That seems really low.
I think it's low, but it's 10% of your revenue, so it's kind of high, right?
Revenue, not profit.
Not profit.
Okay.
And that's the other thing, right? So then you have these photographers who are like, well, I want to do $200,000 a year. Okay. Are you going to spend $20 grand a year on marketing? And if you're in startup mode, it's more. It should be more like 20%.
Yeah.
You look at some of these startup companies,
Dude,
their money is going into marketing.
Right, and the ones who are doing it right are everywhere.
Right. because they're in startup mode.
Yep.
They know their name has to be on the tip of everyone's tongue. So now you're a wedding photographer and it's December, January. That is, December is the number one month for engagements. Where are you? Well, I'm going to one of my local bridal shows. That's fucking it. That's all you're doing. So you want to book 20, 30 weddings this year, but you're going to one bridal show. And then you're going to go to that bridal show and you probably didn't invest in it right. You probably didn't set your booth up right. You probably didn't have show specials or any of the best practices you should follow. And you walk away and you book like one bride. And you're going, well,
It didn't work.
It didn't work. No.
I'm not doing bridal shows anymore.
You didn't work, right? If I'm putting together a marketing strategy and I go, I want to book 20 weddings and I know my average wedding is $5,000. I'm just picking a number. That means in that December, January window, I know roughly I've got to spend about $10,000 in promoting my wedding business. That's actually harder to do than you might think. And by the way, going to a bridal show, that's marketing. So if the bridal show is going to cost me $2,000 to be there, that's 2 of my $10,000. I'd be running Facebook ads. I would be doing cross promotions with dress shops. I'd be doing video ads for YouTube, right? On and on and on. They just won't do it. No. And they're sitting here going, well, no one's willing to spend money. Business is slow. I can say that I have never turned on marketing for us and not booked business. Never.
100%. We know that when we are coming into a time, like we're going to be heading back to Illinois soon, we know we're going to be home for a good chunk of time. You're going to turn on marketing for our beauty stuff.
That's right.
Because we can actually service those
Every
clients.
time we turn on our marketing for Boudoir,
Yep.
we book 30 to 40 leads
Right.
in a month.
And if there's a time where we don't want to shoot, you just turn marketing off.
Just turn it off. That doesn't mean the phone doesn't ring,
No.
but it's not going to ring anywhere near as much as if I've got marketing on.
Correct.
This isn't the place to talk about like what marketing works or doesn't work. The point is you have to become a student of marketing if you want to run a successful business.
You have to have the what's the word? Like not stamina, but you have to be able to A/B test stuff to see what works and what doesn't work. Because today's world, you can't just post a picture online and hope that that books you business
That's
anymore.
not fucking marketing.
No, you have to put money behind everything.
Yeah. Look, there used to be a point in time where you could go viral very quickly. You could post, I'll go back to a real story. I don't remember the photographer's name. I believe he shot a wedding in Denver or in Colorado somewhere, and there were fires.
Yeah, you interviewed him for Shutter
Magazine. And I interviewed
Magazine.
him with
He's
Shutter
like
Magazine.
Tyler something.
What was his name?
His name was like Tyler something, I think.
Incredibly talented.
Oh my God.
And he got this picture of a bride and groom, and it were like the flames were behind them.
Dude, that was all over the news.
It was all over the news.
It wasn't social media. I mean, it was on social media, but it was on the news.
Yeah, everybody carried it. I think F-Stoppers carried it. Shutter Magazine carried it. He had national media attention. So it wasn't just like photo, community. He was big league.
Yep.
And I remember talking to him, and I remember getting off the call, just shaking my head, because I look at stuff like that as a business. He was clearly an artist, a very talented artist. So I have nothing negative to say about him. But I do remember I got off that call and I was like, he's not going to do anything with this.
No, he had no plans.
No, he had no plans.
Just like, this is really
And I don't even
cool.
know. I could be talking shit and I'm going to get off this podcast and I'm going to go look him up and, maybe I'm wrong and I got to put an editor's note in this. But I don't think I'm wrong. He just had no plan, right? So, and I think that's the problem. Creatives think like, oh, well, I'm just going to put this out into the ether.
I don't think he thought he would go viral. So what would you do?
But he was viral. At the
know.
time I talked to him, he was viral.
Right. So the minute something like that happens and you start getting this media attention, what if you don't know how to put a plan together? Like, what if your brain doesn't operate that way?
But well, I don't know. You got to learn, right? You got to be committed to it. And I don't think people just wake up and they know marketing. I was very fortunate that I didn't graduate from a arts college. I actually went to business school. I graduated with a finance degree. So everything I look at, I understand the creative side of what we do, but it's got to make money.
Yeah, you're a natural business mind. You think about somebody like me. I would have been paralyzed by the attention. And like, what do I do next? I don't know. I'd be worried about what's my next viral photo, not thinking about
But that's not possible, right?
Not,
Lightning strikes once.
Exactly.
It's very rare it's going to strike twice. How many times are you going to be filming a wedding and there's a natural disaster going on in the background? So, and then if that's the case, it's like, oh, this guy's got Tyler's filming a wedding and there's 3 tornadoes in the background.
This is crazy.
Yeah. Wherever he goes.
This man is insane.
Yeah.
No, but I would be like, I think the question photographers need to ask themselves, if they ever have that moment, when that moment is kind of like at its peak, is how do I capitalize on this? Because
but ultimately it comes down to, what is your plan?
Plan for what? Plan to capture business from it?
No, just to market your business.
Okay.
Right.
But shouldn't you be doing that all the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they don't.
Yeah.
Right. And that's my point. What I'm highlighting is that this guy had an opportunity where he exploded.
Yeah.
And he still was not able to parlay that into something that was long lasting because there was never a marketing plan. So if something like that were to happen to me, I'd like to think that within like 48 hours, I would have an entire campaign mapped out, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to parlay, how I'm going to get new business off this, how I'm going to turn it into speaking and motivational speaking opportunity. Who the hell knows? But like, I don't think it's disingenuous to think that way, right? We're in business.
Yeah, you've always been this way, and it's something that we've taught ourselves to slow down, because you've always been of the mindset like, we have this huge win and you're immediately like, what now? What's next? What's next? And we had to stop for our team's sake and be like, can we enjoy this moment for a minute? Can that be our what's next?
24 hours,
yeah,
man.
Exactly.
You got to go on to the next thing.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so important to have somebody like you in your circle.
Well, thank you.
Because that quarterback mentality is so rare.
I think it is truly I think most creatives are not athletes, not all of them.
Yeah.
But that comes from an athletic mindset, right? I grew up as a kid playing sports. I played college sports. I played semi-pro sports. And all I want to do is win, right? And I want to compete. I love competition.
That's why so many people in this industry think every time you go at them in business that it's some kind of personal attack.
No, it's not personal.
And it's not. And like, you're like ready to go have dinner afterwards.
Yeah, I'm their coach. It's like I remember being in college and getting my ass handed to me by my coach mid-game, and then after the game, we're like sitting there laughing and having a good time. It's like, it's not personal, guys.
No.
We want to win.
Yep.
I'm trying to motivate you to get up off your fucking ass and let's go win. If you personalize that, I think that's more of a reflection of you than it is me, because I'm not mad at you.
No.
I'm just trying to get a fire under your ass to get going here.
I'm not going to lie. I still struggle with it on the daily.
So one last thing I think is, when we look at why photographers are failing is, and I think you need to speak to this because you went through it, is just a blatant refusal to engage in the sales process.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
What do you mean?
You did not start in sales in this company.
Oh, and I still don't even want to do it.
Okay, so 2 seconds ago you were like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I needed clarity on your question.
Okay, yeah.
So what do you mean, a blatant refusal to accept the sales process? Like, to accept that in order to see the dollars that you want, you have to have some level of in-person sales?
You got to have sales, man.
Yeah.
You can't just shoot and sell digital files.
You can. You're just going to not make as much money.
Right.
It'll be a hobby forever.
You can't, but we're back to the contradiction. You can't sit and complain that you're not making money, or sit and complain that clients aren't hiring you, but you're not willing to do the things to be successful. And sales is part of the process.
It is. It's 100% part of the process. And something that I will advocate for forever is, it doesn't feel like sales when you are selling someone else's work. So if with our beauty clients, I have to sell my own work, and I hate it. It feels like sales, and I feel judged on my own work. When it's your work and I wasn't even on the photo shoot, sometimes you have someone else assist.
Yeah.
And they come in, I'm seeing the pictures for the first time, and I'm like, these are amazing. So I'm not even selling. I'm just like looking at pictures with them and being like, what do you want? You should get this. This one's incredible. And I don't take it personally if they're like, no, I don't like that one. I'm like, yeah, me neither.
Yeah. But the point is, you have to embrace that process, right?
You have to. You have to sell, because in today's world, everybody wants a piece of the pie. And if you're not selling your work, if you're just being lazy, sitting back and putting it online because you don't want to have awkward conversations about money with people, that's always it. You shouldn't be a fucking business owner. You shouldn't. No.
Sit down.
No. And if you're going to go into the sales room, if you are going to do in-person sales, you have to learn how to do it right. And there is very much a right way and a wrong way of doing sales. And photographers, artists specifically, in the sales room do not know how to shut their mouths because they get nervous and then they just talk. Okay, so you go through your price list and then it's like, okay, so here are the prices I sent you in email. Oh, you didn't get this? Instant panic. Okay, well, if you guys need to like go home and talk about it, I totally get it.
Right.
The prices are, we can put a payment plan together if that's better for you.
Just diarrhea in the mouth. Shut your mouth.
You didn't get the email? Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and walk through the packages with you.
Yeah.
Talk through each piece. Don't say the price. And when you're done presenting all of your prices and all of the products, just sit down and let them digest it.
By the way, the reason you don't say the price is because they can read.
Yes.
Right? Nobody wants to
hear
the
$5,999.
Our gold package for $6,322.
Auction?
Yeah, exactly. I think you have to understand that no one's walking into our studio going, you know what I want to do today? I want to spend $5,000 on senior pictures at their studio today. So if I just post them online, life gets in the way of that. And I think it's a huge miss. Mm-hmm. You've got to, if you don't want to suck and you don't want your business to fail, you got to go out there. You got to hustle. You've got to be part of the sales process. And if you can't do it, hire somebody who can.
Absolutely. Yep.
What else you got for us today? Anything?
I mean, I have so much, but I feel like we could probably do a part 2 on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to bring it up.
Okay.
Why your photography business is failing, part 2.
Why your photography business is still failing.
Exactly.
Because we didn't get to all the topics.
All right, everybody. Well, that is our episode for today. We will see you on the next episode, or you'll hear us on the next episode.
We'll see you and you'll hear us.
Yeah. Peace out.